Here we go, gonna continue with the game hunt in Akiba at the Trader HQ, 27,400 for a PC engine. And still focusing on the PC engine, you know, just kind of looking to see what they have. But check this out. What are they asking here for the Duo RX? That was about 70,000 and some change. And this particular one, I think the pricing was on the back side. It was like 60 or just below that. Let's see. I don't quite remember. 69,400 yen. And, you know, very expensive, the Duo RX, but it was this box was a lot cleaner than the one at Super Potato, which they were asking about 59,000. We got Image Fight 2 for 11,700 yen. Now I have this, but I have it on the Switch. It's a part of the Iron Collection Volume 2. An excellent collect, or was it Volume 1? I believe it's Volume 1. One of the volumes. My goodness, I forget, but that's a part of it. And then we have Metal Angel 2. I'm not sure what that one's about. But, you know, Trader's an excellent place to shop for games in Akiba. We got some Godzilla there for 6,900 yen. Seems to be like a fighting game. I haven't played that one personally, but, you know, Trader is a great place. They got an excellent stock, competitive pricing, and sometimes they match you know, what you can expect to find out in the more rural areas. Especially, you know, if you're comparing like this to like a Surugaya, here we have 11,700 yen, but a Surugaya out, you know, far away from like a major urban areas, you know, Surugaya still has 63,000 here for Riot Zone. But, you know, Surugaya, what am I trying to say here? It's not always going to be less expensive, even though the Surugaya is, you know, far away from Tokyo. Like the one in Honjo, for example, in Saitama, that's about what, an hour away by train. But there's still ones that are further out, and the pricing is still comparable, just because they have like an online pricing system. But anyhow, Dragon Saber here for the PC engine, 48,000 or 4,880. And then here we have Psycho Chaser, 6,480. I paid about 44.80, so about 2,000 yen less. And yeah, I've been playing more and more of that. Here we have Gunhead for 10,600 yen. I do have a copy of that, but I haven't beat it yet. And I picked up my copy for it was fairly inexpensive, but it had some smoke damage. And we have Body Count 2. And then Ryuno Ken, Art of Fighting. Haven't played this version on the PC engine, but World Heroes 2 as well as Fatal Fury that require the arcade ROM are very good. 17,800 yen. A little bit less than what Retro Game Camp had it. I believe Retro Game Camp had it at 22,000. But again, I haven't heard great things about that particular port, but at the same time, I haven't played it. Superstar Soldier there for 4,000 and some change. I believe that one's in the PC Engine Mini collection. And then 11,700 yen for Jackie Chan, lower than Super Potato. And these guys are definitely going to have lower prices than both of those shops, but 15,500 yen here for Ninja Spirit. But good old Trader, excellent shop. And then 63.80 for Bonk 2. I paid 45 at the Super Book Off Bazaar. 16,500 for Bonk 3. That one is a pricey one. And it's going to be a while before I get that. We have Bomberman there for 2,480. But, you know, this is a great little selection here. We got Sidearm Special. This is on the CD-ROM, 2,000 and some change. Definitely far lower than the HuCard version. Although, you know, people tend to prefer the HuCard version over this CD-ROM unit. And then we have Spriggan, 13,500 yen. Excellent shooter. Very, very good. I love that game. And then we have The Manhole. I often see this one. 2,700 and some by Sunsoft. But again, I have no idea what kind of game that is. Could be good. Who knows? But I feel like it's some kind of educational game. But here we have Sidearms. This is the HuCard version of Sidearms. And then we have Winds of Thunder. Look at this beautiful cover. This is one of my favorite shooters on the PC Engine. And I remember reading about this way back in Electronic Gaming Monthly. 15,600 for that copy. And then we have Aero Blasters for the Mega Drive, 8,680. I opted for the PC Engine version. I paid about 7,000 300 yen off of the surugaya.com, which tends to have slightly lower prices in their brick and mortar stores. And then 2,480 here for Valis 3, 2,480 for Part 2. That's not actually a bad price, but it is a bit sun faded. And I have Part 2 and 4, or Part 3 and 4, and then we have Ys Book 3, I believe, 1,280. We have Super Darius, 2,080. And but yeah, what's on the agenda here? We're gonna hit up a couple of book offs as well, or a couple of hard offs and a book off after we are done here at the Trader. But all the Super Darius, 2,080, and that's probably like the lowest that I've seen in like the Tokyo area. I haven't played this version of Super Darius, but I'm definitely interested as I am a fan of the series. And then back to Sidearm Special here. Now this store can get fairly busy, and I was out here on Monday. But we have 4,280 for Afterburner 2. And that's far less, well, not far less, but about, 2,400 yen less than what I paid. But the version that I have is fairly clean, and it did include that essential Obi card, the spine card. And here we have Groove On Fight for 10,700 yen. I definitely want to pick up this fighting game. Now, this is a part of like the Power Instinct series. And they also had a copy of Snatcher, 217,000 yen. This is still at Trader, and Beep had a copy, but Beep's copy was a bit more expensive by about like 20,000 yen. So that's definitely a chunk of change. 29,500 there for Castlevania Bloodlines. It looks like that's the North American copy. We got Monkey Magic, 32,500 yen. I believe that also had a North American release. And then in the back, they have Kazekiri for 34,800 yen. More expensive than the version at Beep, but this one does not have sun fading, and it seems to be in better condition. But again, with these higher end PC Engine games, you definitely want to have a close look, because, PCE works. And then what do we have? Matramela there for PS2. But yeah, some of these more expensive games, they get released by PCE Works, and you definitely want to know the difference, because I don't know. I imagine like the people that work at these locations are trained, but I don't know how extensive their training is. But here we go back to Kazekiri Ninja Action, 34,800 yen. And now we're at the book off, or at the hard off, and this is their Pokemon Shrine. This is still in Akiba. And we'll hit up a book off plus and another hard off out in Ueno, which I've covered. I've covered all these stores previously, but the stock is constantly changing, that you can keep going, and they're always adding new stuff. Like, I think the last time I was here, this display wasn't set up. Here we have the Naruto SP, 38,500 yen, but unfortunately the logo was severely rubbed out. And what the heck do we have back there? 41,800 yen for that special edition. And then they have the Persona 4 PlayStation Vita. But is that just the skin? 44,000 here for the Final Fantasy 20th anniversary. We got some sexy Parodius, 19,800. Not sure what the heck this is, but that is one very interesting cover. 6,600 yen. And 11,000 for Final Fantasy 2. Now, you can still find those original Final Fantasy games for the Famicom, below 3,000, but you're definitely gonna be putting in some time. And I'm not sure what these Super Famicom games are, but they're definitely interesting covers and a hefty price tag there. But this is just a small section of their PC Engine stuff. We got Power Drift, 7,000 yen before that sales tax. Now, Power Drift, the 3DS version, is really, really good. And what else do we have? We have Gradius Gopher's Ambition, the Ambition of Gopher, 9,000 there before the sales tax. And I haven't played this version, but I'm definitely interested. We got Mr. Bones there for the Sega Saturn, 6,000 yen. I'm still missing a disc 2 as I picked my copy up in the junk section. 7,000 there for Marvel Superheroes, Street Fighter 02. And then we have Street Fighter 0 there for 3,000. Now, of course, the prices are going to be a bit higher here. But, if you don't have time to hit up other areas, if time is severely limited, then it's not it's not too bad. And then 8,000 for a loose hue card of Ninja Spirit. That's a pretty cool game. I do like playing that one from time to time. 11,000 for Super Mario Land. Hit up a book off. They have that for about 1,800. And then Contra the Alien Wars. I believe this is what the USA North American version, 8,000 yen. I recently picked up the Japanese version. They also had a Crisis Force there loose, which I just noticed now. But they had the Core Graphics 2 for 49,500 yen. That's pretty steep. That's really steep. Now, the Core Graphics 2 in that condition is probably like the least common, at least from what I've seen. But yeah, 49,000, 132,000 for the Neo Geo. And they have so many handhelds. But again, like that, the one on the right here, 27,500 yen. They had that at the Book Off Bazaar in Ota for 7,800 yen. But the one that they had at that book hard off was definitely far cleaner. 9,000 here for a Dreamcast. Now, this is the Book Off Plus in Ueno Station. And I do like coming here because every now and then they do surprise me with a few superb games with decent pricing. But you got to be quick. This is a high traffic store. A lot of tourists are coming in here, as well as locals. It's not just tourists. But let's see. They kind of rearrange things, which is very common in Japan. It kind of keeps you on your toes, especially if you haven't been here in a while. But a decent selection of Switch titles. Now, again, if you're after Switch, if you're actively collecting for the Switch, it doesn't really make sense to head out to like the more rural areas because, it's in vogue, it's in style, the Switch, and there's going to be more options here in the city, and the price differences between, rural areas and these urban areas is almost nil. There's almost no difference. 4,528. And that goes with both hardware and software. We got Fatal Fury there, City of the Wolves. And we have Visions of Mana, 4,100 yen. And I'm finally at the very last area of Demon Souls. I just got to go through the fog gate and it's over. But Biohazard 2, 4,500 yen with a 10% discount. We got Part 2's DualShock version coming in at a similar price point. And then the Last Blade, 2,300 yen, and that's going to be the greatest hits or the best collection. Here we got Namco Anthology Volume 1. They also have a Volume 2, but not at this location, but it was released. Not sure what the heck this is, but it is a Namco game, and they had 3 copies of it. And then what's this, Ground Spike or something? Look at those graphics. Looking like Alone in the Dark style. We got some Wild Arms 2, Second Ignition. And I'm not sure what the heck this is, but it's Part 2. It's like this could be a pretty cool puzzle type of game. I don't know. We had some Xenogears and then some more funky titles. So many games here for the PS1. And then 720 for this, and this seems to be like a collection of mini games. I don't know. I think I've seen this one before, but it's definitely been a long while. They didn't have too many Sega Saturn titles. This is Part 2 to something, but I'm not really familiar. And what else do we have? Some Dreamcast, this little baseball game by Konami, which also has like its own soundtrack. Now, this is a great place to look at the soundtracks. They do have a pretty good selection, but I didn't look at them on this specific occasion. But in the next video, we're definitely going to take a look at some hardcore soundtracks. And what is this, Walali? Something like that? It's kind of a funky cover. But again, nothing too stand out here. With regard to like the PC Engine. Here we have Dragon Quest 3, 4,100 yen for the Super Famicom. Definitely interested in that HD 2D pixel remaster. And what the heck is this? Elemental Master, something like that? Or not Elemental Master, but I forget the name of that one. But we have Power Monger here. That one's kind of an interesting one. I don't know if I've seen that one. At least the cover. Kawame Part 3. And a few Famicom titles, as well as quite a bit of loose cards. Look at that. But I wasn't really looking too hard. You know, here we have, what is this? Shitoku Battle 2. I definitely want to try that one. For 900 yen. But for that price, if you go like somewhere else, you could probably find it complete in the box. And the 900 yen here for Star Fox. That's a great game. And then 12,400 yen for this Super Famicom, and it looks rough. Now for hardware, you definitely want to head out, you know, outside of these areas. You're definitely going to get a better deal. Now the PC Engine Duo, they were asking about 49,000 for that one, and 13,455 for the 3DO arcade stick. I do have that arcade stick, and it is it's not bad. Not the best, but you know, considering what it is, it's not bad. And then what do we have here? Lacradan Heroes. And I think that game, that with the samurai, 5,400 yen. I believe that's like a 2D action type of game. And then we have Super Valis there for 3,200. But that samurai game, it was released in North America, if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing it once at Channel 3 Video in Walla Walla, Washington, many, many years ago. Lord of Elemental, I think that's what the other game was. 3,200 yen. They have a copy in there as well. But it could have been part 2 or a spin-off, or you know, something close to that. 18,000 there for that PSP front and center, the silver. 12,000 there for the 1,000. And then 17,000 for this blade. Look at this bad boy. Now this is in Ueno, not too far from the Book Off Plus, on the way to the Hard Off, but man, that is some serious steel. Look at that. Ooh. But anyhow, here we have Hard Off, Hobby Off. This is known to be one of the most expensive shops. But we'll take a look. Let's see what they got. Again, their little Pokemon shrine. And gosh, what's the average price point in there? Like 60,000 before sales tax. And I believe this is a tax-free shop. 55,000 there for the PC Engine Duo. 55,000. Those are definitely hard to come by, and you definitely want to get it serviced, because those things are just notorious for they need maintenance. Like most of these consoles, you know, if they haven't had maintenance, it's about due time, you know. What else do we have here? Just a bunch of standard titles, you know. Choma Kaimura there for 5,000. We got Final Fantasy for 27,500 yen for the Famicom. 55,000 for Rockman 2. 11,000 for Kirby All-Stars. Now they're just spreading their hustle there. But we got Mario Kart 64, 11,000. That is crazy. 13,200 for Zelda. You know, so for some of this software, you could easily find it for far, far less. If you know, just take like 20 minutes out of here. 30 minutes. That's even better. We got Spawn there, 8,000 yen for the Dreamcast, next to Astal for 13,200 yen. And then we have Gex. I believe that's the Sega Saturn version, 13,200 yen. Or it could be the PS1 version. It's hard to tell. And then we got some Twin B, 11,000 there for the PS1. 16,500 yen for that isometric platforming action game for the Saturn. What the heck else? We have some puzzle game there for 7,000. And then Akumaju no Densetsu, 33,000 next to Goemon for 13,200. They got this Mangy Rockman for 33,000. Now, if that was mint, that would probably be closer to like 100,000. 220,000 for, I forget the name of that game, but super rare. 66,000 there for Lala or whatever the heck it's called. Then we have Toe Jam and Earl. We got some Batman Returns for 1,500 before that 10% sales tax. Same price there on Gradius 3. 500 yen for Super Street Fighter 2. That's definitely not bad. And then we have Donkey Kong Country for 15,000. You can definitely find that one complete in the box for that price. 500 there for Final Fantasy 6. And what else do we have here? Now, I didn't dig too deep, but I was just mostly curious to see how prices were faring here. And I have to wonder, if this store, and I suspect that it is, but if it's a direct store, meaning that it's, a corporate store and not one that's been franchised out. But it's hard to tell. And then we have Final Fantasy 3 for 4,000. Here in this bin, we got Far East of Eden. These are the only, I don't think there was many PC Engine titles here. But, sometimes it's nice digging through these little stacks. And again, this is another store that has a lot of foot traffic. We have Genpei Tomaden, the sequel. Great game, by the way. And I have no clue what the heck that is, but it is for the Super CD-ROM. Maybe some kind of visual novel, who knows? This is going to be a Hudson Soft published title. But again, here we have Momo. Kind of a funky game, that one. And then Spin Pair for 2,500 yen. That could be like a puzzle game, no clue. Again, with the PC Engine, I'm mainly after like the shooters and a few action games, but this has such a rich library. We have another Far East of Eden game there. Kabuki something. And then House of the Dead 2 for 1,500 yen. They didn't have too many Dreamcast games, but here we have Tomb Raider 4 and Blue Stinger for 1,500. I do like that Blue Stinger game. And then we have some baseball action there from Namco. So many baseball games on the PS1, it's crazy. And then we have the Color Pocket cover. Look at this. I haven't seen something like that before. Kind of an interesting little find. And then we have this Famicom color scheme, and I'm assuming that's going to be for the PlayStation Vita 1000 model. Definitely a funky cover. And then here, I'm thinking these, I don't know if these are junk. I don't think this is the junk bin, but these are definitely like the budget titles. And a lot of these games are going to be between 500 and 1,000 yen. And then Rage Racer, that's a great title, 500 yen. That's not too bad of a price. And then we have Choro Q for, well, I stand corrected, that's coming in at 3,500. And here we have some, I don't know if these are new old stock, but there are a couple of Hori pads for the PlayStation. Yeah, not too bad there. 3 colors. And then this Hori arcade stick, I believe this one is for the Sega Saturn. And that's coming in at 3,300 yen. I do like the green buttons on that. And then not very many Sega Mega Drive titles. Here we have 33,000 for Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And then we have Sword of Sodon. Now, I don't know, that game doesn't seem convincing by those screenshots, but 9,000 there. And then Salamander for the X68000. This one could be good. Well, I know the game's good, but the port itself is probably very close, if not arcade perfect, perhaps. And then we got our PlayStation 1 titles. What do we have here? Namco Museum Volume 3, 1,000 yen. Now, I've been coming to this shop off and on. I maybe visit like once or twice a year. But, back before, they didn't have this much stock, but it was always kind of pricey. But I have had a few pickups here throughout the years, but, considering all things considered, it's probably one of the least, I have the least amount of pickups compared to other book-offs. And then we have Rival Schools there. So, not a bad selection of PlayStation 1. Not the best, far from the best, but, And then we have Desamon there for 13,200 yen. This is the 3D version for the N64. Ever since I picked up that Super Famicom version, these games have just been popping up left and right. And look how cozy the Super Famicom Jr. looks here. 44,000. Next to the pair of Mario and Luigi Wiimotes for 13,200 yen. 49,500 there for the Neo Pocket, the color version. 66,000 for the Final Fantasy 30th anniversary or 20th anniversary edition. Now this one was out at the Treasure Factory out in Ota, and it was half that price. Blue Breaker there. Now this is for what, the PCFX. It looks interesting. It looks like a pretty high quality role-playing type of game. But I don't know the PCFX. But anyhow, well, first of all, check out this size of this box. I haven't seen this before. 29,700 yen. But the one up top is the one that I'm used to seeing. But guys, you know, I was just hanging out here. You know, expect more videos on Akihabara. Usually when I'm out here, I do like to film. And just to kind of keep tabs on what's going on, you know, as well as like the shops out in Ueno. But definitely stay tuned. I have more videos in the works. And until then, ciao.